King Frank May in the building. Latest project, Merci. Um, Tell us more about that, man. Give us some inspiration behind it and what's going on.
Yeah, Mercy. Mercy was a project. It was a long time coming. It took me some time to kind of come up with the concept of that project and build it out. This one big narrative. The title is Merci 1453. In all of my projects, all of my content is like historical research and background to everything that I do on the surface. So 1453 kind of references the war 1453 with Byzantine and Mi'kmaq, the Ottomans, and where they conquered Byzantine and Constantinople, which was a big pivotal point in history and political structure that has an effect on even the politics of what's going on today as well. So with that context, a lot of the language that I'm using throughout the project makes more sense. Yeah. Yep.
What was one of the star tracks or like for me 300 or I think it's American Dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, it's crazy. American Dream wasn't gonna make it on there. That was like the last track that I put on there because I didn't have a hook, and it was like maybe like a week before I was about to actually put it up, and I was like, let me just go in there and figure out a hook, freestyle the hook, laid it, and
that's tough.
Yeah. And then when I put it up, everybody even gave me the feedback. That was like one of their favorite tracks.
Yeah.
I'm glad I put that shit on
Yeah,
there.
that's what's up.
But a star track for me was I fucked with American Dream, but Mama's Crown was the realest one for me. Yeah, for sure.
Well, why you say that?
Because it kind of laid the whole ground for the project and just my position and why I got into hip hop altogether. Like Mama's Crown is about the concept that my mom is a queen of being politically correct, like a sultana, an empress, right? And she's naturally that, but she doesn't get to enjoy that life. She doesn't get to fulfill what it means to be that or experience that in her lifetime. So I'm making a declaration throughout the project that I'm gonna jump off the porch and get it back for her, in a sense.
And I definitely felt that within the whole album. So tell us more about your inspirations, hip hop wise.
Hip hop wise, okay. So when I first decided to I made the decision I'm gonna do music. It was like a sophomore year at college, and locked myself in a room. I started studying everybody from Tula Shakur, Malcolm X, Stokely Carmichael, Martin, people like that. And those were my inspirations. I saw a void in the political structure of the Americas, and I wanted to figure out what it was and, take my shot at it.
Yeah.
But my style is different from theirs. Of course, a different time, too. I'm not going to be the guy at the podium. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to be the dude in the booth.
That don't end too well anyway, so you might want to. Being the guy behind the podium don't end too well. So
exactly. You know what I'm saying? But I just felt like, hip-hop was a big deal. For people, our people, being disfranchised, we were stripped of everything, like land, resources, our culture, our civilization, our names, our government institutions, right? All we had left was our voice, right? And we've been able to flip that into this hip-hop culture, and look where we at now.
It's the most influential thing in the world.
Most influential thing in the
Hip-hop
world.
is
It's
pop
a
culture.
$1 trillion empire. So it just, it's just this mass force of empowerment, both economical and political. And it just made all the sense. If I'm going to pursue this particular purpose, that was the best venue to do it. And then I just like fucking rapping.
So who are your actual hip hop influences?
Hip hop influences?
Yeah.
KRS-One is big time. KRS-One, you know, he definitely preserved what hip hop is as a culture, and if you
From
actually
the
look
foundation
into
where he's
the foundation,
educating and still
and
giving you some
it,
bars.
shit would be lost without him. So you definitely highlight KRS-One. That's a big influence on my life. My lifestyle is based around a lot of his teaching. Hove, you know,
Alright.
just how he diversified what this culture is. You know, before people like Hove and Diddy and even Nas, you kind of you felt like hip hop was like in this box of music and shit like that at first until they
It was music. They made it business.
They touched it. Yeah, they made it
They
an enterprise,
enterprised it,
right?
yeah.
And they show you how far it could go, you know. And that's a testimony that I felt like we need as we, you know, as a youth, as we kind of build up on our visions and our future. So, yeah, all praise for them. So I said KRS Hove, Nas, of course, just studying his patterns of rhyme and how he approached the track. Illmatic is my favorite album, hands down. So I felt like he actually taught me how to hit pockets and like all that stuff. And Ice Cube, just because he was like the fuck out. And
Okay.
a lot, like real, like just.
It's probably one of the
shit.
most underrated legends.
He is
ever.
like, son, gangster rap, all this shit the niggas talking, it don't exist with Ice Cube, bro. Ice Cube followed all that shit, bro.
All most of NWA stuff, the
Everything.
whole Easy E album,
Everything
it's
they,
all
all the cool gangster shit that you heard came from that. Nigga.
Then he wasn't he the writer for most of the rhymes for NWA?
Yeah.
yeah, it was.
He wrote the whole first album.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Him, ran.
That's crazy, man. I think just the evolution of you know hip hop in itself, and even of how you can communicate a message. Like how you said, like I like the concept of how you take what you've learned from Martin and Malcolm X and your hip hop influences and combine it into one thing to be able to get it out to people in this day and age. You know, that's an interesting, you know, concept right there.
It's beautiful because that's where hip hop really started from. Like, if we even talk about before rap started, like the Last Poets, they was like rapping over like Congo beats. And it wasn't even called rap. It's just because they actually added music to their poetry or their spoken word. They are like considered like one of the first rappers ever because they actually did it behind like a drum beat.
Yeah, again, it's just a vehicle of empowerment. It's meant to have fun, right? And every aspect. It's meant to be a lot of things, but definitely, I ain't playing with this shit either.
Right, you definitely have a serious tone when you actually make your music. I can tell, man.
Yeah.
You serious about your shit.
Facts.
Yeah, speaking of inspirations, like I was listening to it on the way here. I was like, oh, he sound like a lot like, not a lot like Joey Badass, but I like that's where I feel in terms of equal comparison as into now, like the artist of 2020. That's who I would compare to because they like you ride that old school beat, like you still kicking knowledge on top of like having like some bars.
Yeah, like the boom bap shit. Yeah, facts. Like boom bap. Like that's like. If I had
That's the lane.
That's
the
your
lane.
sound
If
space
I had to
right
step
there.
into any period
That's
of
your
time,
frequency.
that's like the golden era for me. Boom bap is my shit. So yeah, that whole sound, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to touch back a little bit in the beginning. You was introducing yourself and you said first and foremost I'm a father. So let's just go into these last 8 months and how's that been? That change into new fatherhood.
It's been crazy. It's crazy. It's like, before you cross that barrier, people tell you about it, like, yo, to change your life is a love you never felt, all that shit. And it's real, bro. Like, I can't tell you what it is, you know what I'm saying? It's just so many moments since then it's just so big staples in my life. Like, we did a home birth, we did it all natural and shit, you know what I'm saying? I caught him, it's like the instant moment. Yeah, like, we did the whole thing together. Like, nobody really
you the first
kind of
person
coached
to
it.
touch,
Yeah.
like,
And just the instant transition
Yeah, about to
between
say,
pre-fatherhood and then in your hands, like your fatherhood, your whole life changes. So it's a different kind of motivation that comes from that. It's a different kind of hustle that you pursue, and it made me a lot tougher. I mean, it made me a lot tougher. There's nothing in this world that I won't take on full force. for the benefit of my child. So, yeah.
How you feel
there's
like that changed you, like, musically? Because we know, like, Jay was like a certain way, but then once he had his child, it's like another level of Jay.
Yeah, I mean, because again, I had a purpose when I jumped into it, and now that reality is, well, I have to. There's no excuse for me not to achieve. Like I can't afford not to achieve what I'm setting out to do for my son. You know what I'm saying? There's a world out here that we're gonna get into that discussion about, social injustices, colonialism, all these constructs that plagued me as I was growing up. Like I had a lot of experiences that had an effect on me, both mental, physical, all these things, and I need to do everything that I can to change this world so that he got he 50 steps ahead of that.
Yeah, like, I can definitely relate. I hear the noise in the back.
Right,
I
hear the inspiration
definitely
in the
relate.
background.
Like I can definitely relate just where you coming from, man. Just
But yeah, you
just like like just like honestly, like just big ups to you because like statistics just trying to break us down as it is, but there's a lot of good black fathers out here, and we are trying to set that testament to like set that background so our sons don't have to go through, because I have a 14 and a 1-year-old, so like I'm definitely trying to set that testament so they ain't got to go through what I went through and vice versa for yourself. I definitely give a big ups to you for real.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
And it's love seeing y'all, with this being, you being our first guest and you to bring your child through, your whole family through, for real. I appreciate that. That's beautiful to see, man.
Definitely is, man.
And then, Twan, you bringing his son through from time to time as well. So it's just to see that father-son connection, just to continue and to be better in the future generations, man. That's what we need out here. And just, we want to highlight that, man.
Yeah, facts, yeah.
So keep doing what you're doing towards that, and I already know that's not going to change for real.
Nah.
So,
We ain't forget about you, Brian.
oh yeah, Brian, yo. Shout out to all the fathers here, yo. Fathers don't get enough shine, yo. We're going to have a Father's Day celebration outside of Father's Day. Hey, yo.
What's the sweetest fish?
Some sweetest fish.
We not doing this
Yeah, like,
right
you can't be doing that. You can't tell inside jokes or live.
now. We not doing it.
Don't nobody get it.
Like, nobody got it.
I'm like, what?
Like, shit. Yeah.
Right.
Nah, but so tell us a little bit more about I want to talk about Lunch Money. Like just the new project, the new single, and what's coming up. Like,
What's in store?
Yeah. I mean, well, Lunch Money, it was interesting because a lot of the songs that I'm producing now and and making now, like Lunch Money doesn't exist without my son. So it's a whole new vibe and wave that I'm on.
Yeah, and anyone that sees a video knows that.
Yeah, right, exactly,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I try to be, try to maintain myself as I'm approaching the songs. Like I want to have some level of sophistication, something that I can kind of implement to this song, and with a kind of concepts of just as a father, and with the whole thing like Lunch Money, of course, like I'm a father. You gotta give your son money, to
Get that
eat
lunch.
out here, right? Otherwise, you're not gonna eat. But I kind of hit it from two different aspects between the verses. I believe the first verse, I kind of spoke about my own experiences growing up, just influences around people who didn't really have fathers, and how that shit planned out. And I got a cousin that got life in prison right now. That of course, you never really met him yet, but that's the whole thing that I went through. Just kind of trying to tell my son, like there's certain directions you can go out here. I just want you to know, where that shit can lead to. You feel me? And then in the second one, second verse, there's more substance to where I want to teach you how to hustle, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? For the first one was like, get money, niggas out here get money, whether they dealing, whatever, but that shit can lead you somewhere. Even if God give you, however many thousand, tens of thousands up front, or hundreds of thousands up front, that shit gonna lead either one or two places. One of my mans got killed, another man's in jail. But if you know, if I'm teaching you how to hustle and earn your lunch, you know what I'm saying, whatever, take those principles and everything else that I was kind of hitting towards in that verse, that's going to take you a long way. You know, stay authentic, stay genuine with it, and endure whatever you got to. It's a long game.
That's love. I definitely, felt that message, especially the second verse of, really trying to navigate your own and getting it yourself kind of way. In the video, how was that, just having your son out creating a video and
Oh, that was great, man. That was great. That's one thing that I do. Like, I'm just, my art is a direct reflection of my life. I'm never going to really cheat the audience of anything outside of, like, what's really going on, what's really authentic, or what really means something to me. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's always my family. Even before my son was here, a lot of my videos just featured, it was either me or me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? And my wife is always really the one directing a lot of videos.
Wow.
It's really
that's
us.
dope,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
That's what's up.
Yeah, she
we
do
gotta
the,
give her a shout. She's
she do the
a
camera
bomb
work.
ass poet herself as well.
Facts, right? Yeah, she was featured on my on my tapes.
Yeah.
That's her voice on those intros and outros and stuff on
Oh,
that.
damn, that's love.
And then we just added our third party to the bunch. It's a family business. It's a family affair. Yeah, so it just felt really good, just to have him there. Like, I'm always bring my son to work. So
That's a beautiful thing, brother.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's really
stuff.
beautiful to
It
see, from the jump, That's
appreciate that.
great, man. So tell us about this event that you got coming up, man. Are we still doing the Corona?
I don't know. You stepped out a second ago. You was talking about that postpone.
Yeah, we gotta
Yeah.
talk about that, yo.
But no, I mean, there's technical difficulties going on.
Yeah,
right
which
now
is big
with
out
the
of our
world.
control, yo.
I mean, they shut down the NBA. Who the fuck we think we is? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, come out anyway. Fuck you talking about? But yeah, nonetheless, we're doing a workshop. It's called shit. What the fuck was it called? Shit.
It's an interactive workshop. Trade slaves.
Slavery is not black and white. It's a comprehensive study of the slave trade, and it's very important. Especially, it does a lot for me to be very intuitive and educated on the system to be able to identify where there's problems. Right? You got to be a competent and adept to see certain things. One thing that my mother taught me, it was the greatest thing she ever taught me, was any question I had from my mother, she never gave me the answer. She would always tell me, like, go find a dictionary, read the word, find the definition, or go research it yourself. She always took me to bookstores. She bought me a lot of dictionaries growing up. And when you start to, if that's when that becomes your first method of, like, just digesting information, you'll be surprised at how different the truth really is from what's being propagated or what's just being fed to the general public. So this concept of slavery that we have, like, it's the world is against us. This shit ain't really like that. It wasn't really like that. You know what I'm saying?
So,
go ahead.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
go ahead.
I just want to know, was there any particular instance in your life that made you want to kind of just delve in head first and kind of just dig through maybe the books or whatever, however you consume this knowledge? Was there something that happened in your life?
Yeah, I never felt like a
that?
slave. I never felt like a fucking slave. I always felt like a king, like, right? And I prayed, like, just to figure out what that was about me. And then, lo and behold, the information started to reveal itself. And those affirmations came, and I started to identify with a history that's real, that it wasn't given to me in school. But it's everywhere. Like, I can go to any bookstore. We can go right now to a big store. I could show you, I could probably pick out 3 or 4 books in that bookstore at this moment that tells history of when our ancestors enslaved Europeans for like 700 years, 700 plus years. It's out there, but niggas don't go to books.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like I always tell y'all, niggas don't read.
That's a quote,
Yeah. But they don't teach niggas how to read
that's-
either,
oh,
because
that's
the
true.
context of reading is comprehending what you're reading. And you know, when you look at a dictionary will teach you how to read. You got to break down shit down to the brackets. You got to know the etymology of a word. Etymology is the origin of a word and the science how it changes over time. So you look at certain words like colored, Negro, African American. You're not gonna find a history where African Americans were kings, because the term African American didn't exist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you're not gonna find it. So you gotta
Straight
know what
up.
the fuck you was called, or what you identified as in a certain period of time to associate with that particular history. And when you do that, it's like, wow, like I'm not this. I'm really
come from
this,
kings.
right? No wonder they spend so much effort and time
breaking down.
and finance to try to hide and oppress, just history. You know what I'm saying? So, because once you know who you are, they can't do shit.
They can't
with
tell
that.
you who you're supposed to be once you know who you are.
Right.
Like they're comfortable with like just calling us by bywords and stuff like that.
Right. They it's out there, man. So I mean that's the whole purpose of the workshop, is to introduce that history, give an experience of what it feels like to experience learning and liberating your mind in that practice.
We not canceled.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
It's
just keep on going.
And and also giving the audience and the participants the tools to do that on their own, like teach them how to fish, in a sense as well. So yeah.
Yeah, so that workshop is coming soon. It was for
March
The
29th.
29th, but
29th.
the world is at a panic right now. So
because of Rona.
Yeah, that Rona.
That Rona. But
Getting all
nah,
the
I'm excited for that workshop, just for a lot of reasons, but one being just within our culture and like really like self-identifying and understanding that concept of who we are and who we're not, and just not really falling for that media narrative of things, man. That's really important. And we pushing that message here in 2020.
Thank you for watching What's Good Bro podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. Also, make sure you check out the rest of our footage on our page.
Yeah, we got some dope content on Instagram as well. You can follow us there at WGB Podcast.
and please don't forget to listen to us on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. We come out every other week.
And remember, thank you.
Okay.